Thank you, Vance. Let's give that another shot. By a show of hands, for those of you willing to share, how many have at least one person who is more than 100 pounds overweight in your life? That is the definition of someone who is morbidly obese. Presiding officer, ladies and gentlemen, according to the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery, 1 in 12 American teenagers will become morbidly obese. As some of you know, I have a lifetime history of morbid obesity. I was obese by the age of 7 and morbidly obese from the age of 9, long before I was a teenager. This relates to addictive behavior centered around eating. It is actually a medical condition for which I have been and continue to be under professional care. What you probably do not know is that my weight has varied by over 100 pounds 3 times in my life. Over 100 pounds as a child, barely past puberty, and over 200 pounds twice as an adult. Here is a photo of the most recent of those times, miserable times, me weighing on a freight scale at over 400 pounds. However, most people who are aware of this fact consider it a character defect, fat, which is closely tied to lazy. Since I was a morbidly obese child from the age of 9 and wore glasses or contact lenses continuously from about the age of 8, the taunt at my elementary school was fatty 4 eyes. Many times as a child, I cried myself to sleep. I was miserable. I thought that was normal. As far as offering advice, if you know or are related to someone with morbid obesity, please, unless you are a properly trained professional skilled in the care of morbid obesity, a specialist in bariatric medicine, or a properly trained psychologist and or psychiatrist, or a highly skilled weight control professional, leave it to the professionals. What specifically can you learn from my biggest mistake? The opportunity for long-term change is probably when the morbidly obese friend, neighbor, or relative is first in college or university. That was my mistake. I have analyzed this over and over across many decades. Group therapy with a therapist with the stature of the late psychologist Nathaniel Branden, the long-term lover of the novelist Ayn Rand of Atlas Shrugged fame, probably would have changed my life. My first year of university was also the year of my only serious suicide attempt. I nearly hurled myself off the eastern bluffs, not the northern cliffs of Dana Point, California. I was saved literally by my car keys. This is something that I rarely talk about, that I have never shared in my family, with my family, who put the dis in dysfunction. Again, that first year out of high school seems to be the optimal moment to affect long-term positive change. An omission that has haunted me for the most of my life. Because fat is closely tied to lazy, it means that I did not get the girl and I did not get the job. That is the price that I have paid for my addictive behavior throughout my life. The long-term pain of fatness is not worth it. There is one other thing, something that I did not have as a child or young adult, the Toastmasters International Communication Leadership Program. While none of us knows what the future may bring, my success is reflected in these 2 photos from July 2012. This was in the back room of a restaurant, North Harbor Boulevard, east side of the street in Costa Mesa, California. This was an event honoring past international director H. Al Richardson for 50 years in Toastmasters. I'd come into the restaurant, and the photographer, Svetlana Kurshneva, was at, of course, H.L. Richardson's at the head of the table, and Svetlana's on the left side in the front. I said hi to her. I'd seen her a few months before. And about a third of the way down is Victoria Bacher, the other person you'll be able to see in the photos. And I hadn't seen her in 2, maybe 3 years. And she's a past Founders District Director, and now she's then Victoria Bacher, and now she's Victoria Dotson. I came in, tapped her on the shoulder, said, "Good to see you, Victoria." And she turns around, she recognizes the voice, and then she gives me a look. "Who are you?" Because I'm down about 130 pounds from when I last saw her. Svetlana has managed to capture in this second photograph of the exact moment when Victoria recognizes it's me and she comes in to give me a hug. I call this the embrace of recognition. The second photograph of this set are the smiling faces of our celebration. There is, however, a twist. I am still looking for Ms. Charming. I thought that our photographer, Svetlana Kurshneva, and I were going to be a serious item. However, she is now living with her lesbian girlfriend in Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, presiding officer, I was barking up the wrong tree.
Thank you, Howard. Very inspirational. That's amazing that you lost all that weight and you've been at a good weight the whole time I've known you. So that's quite